Hello, peri and postmenopausers. So listen, one of the biggest challenges in this journey isn't just about the journey itself, but it's about understanding what needs to be done differently as we start to get a little bit older, i.e., how we eat. And for many of you, it may have been a struggle for a very long time around, I know what worked for me 10 years ago. I know what worked for me 5 years ago, but now it just feels like nothing works. And you've tried so many different things, but now you're putting together combinations of some of the techniques or the programs and things you combined or things you've done in the past, and it still isn't working. And you just have no idea why. Example, maybe you've done keto in the past. Maybe you've done paleo. Maybe you've been vegetarian. Maybe you've been vegan. Maybe you've gone hybrid. Maybe you've gone back to only pescatarian, and now you're just trying to figure out what to do. And so you're using so many different pieces of things that you've done in the past, and you just don't know what to do. So let's talk about like how we're trying to get very basic with it so that you aren't grasping at straws. First of all, decide what's important to you. And this important question is, do you want to eat meat or don't you? Each of those lifestyles will produce a healthy person. It doesn't matter. Meat is not the only reason why people can be unhealthy, just like not eating meat is not the only reason why somebody will be healthy, okay? But you have to decide, what does that look like for you? And maybe you like a hybrid approach, right? But let's at least clarify, what is my eating style that I prefer for the long term, not in the short term? But what is my preferred eating style for the long term that's going to help me best? So that's number one. Number two, meal parts and what times make sense for you. And what I mean by that, some of you may be trying to intermittent fast and you're doing varying degrees of it. Sometimes you're trying to do, I'm going to not eat till 12, then you're just starving by 1 o'clock. Or some of you may then switch it to, okay, today I'm going to eat at 10, but I'm still going to do the same amount of fasting period, right? Or the same amount of the eating window. These are things that don't help you from a digestive standpoint. Then you may be thinking, well, when it worked for me in the past, I did like 6 small meals a day, and you're going to try to do 6 small meals. But here we go. Did you have enough time to prepare it? Is your digestion helping you? Like, are you finding that you're okay with these 6 small meals? Or are you really struggling and stressing yourself out to do it, and then your stomach's hurting? These are the things that make sense that we have to really look at and decide what is right for us. Again, then as we're getting older, what are the things that make sense or that matter? Protein matters as we get older. And again, whether you want to eat meat or you don't, protein matters in the sense of having a stable, strong frame. And it's not about the look of a person, but about, do you have enough to help repair your cells, repair your tissue, repair the breaks and the damage that we do to muscle when we do activities or just normal day to day, or maybe you had a surgery, maybe you're healing from something. Protein is essential so that you can grow old and mature and be healthy and strong. So whether you eat meat or you don't, we still have to prioritize protein. So I said all that, and maybe now you're thinking, gosh, I really don't know. But you know that what you've been doing just isn't working. So let's talk about how we create meals that make sense. So first is your proteins. You have to have enough for you, and do you understand the how much? Now, if you're not familiar with a macro environment, that's okay, but there's a lot of different ways to understand the right amount for you. So no matter what, whether you are in the US or you are abroad, it's either going to be grams per pound or it's going to be grams per kilogram of body weight. So those of you who are probably in the US, you're probably doing grams per pound. And those of you who are not in the US, you are probably using grams per kilogram. Either way, understand that in the world of nutrition and in the world of protein, it's always still easier, kind of universal, to talk about grams per kilogram. And that's usually what you may be seeing when you look in a book or you hear a nutritionist talk about it in a hospital, or you may see something online. Usually that's what you're looking at. And the conversion for it is usually about 2.2. So for every pound, like think about for every kilogram, then we talk about that in is 2.2 pounds. So 1 kilogram is like 2.21 in pounds. The way to find out your protein requirement, and this is just the requirement before you ever even get into your lifestyle, if it's sedentary, if you're trying to lose a substantial amount of weight, if you're trying to body recomp, if you're an athlete, if you're someone who trains on a regular basis, those all then require a little bit more. But just a baseline protein is going to be divide your body weight by that 2.2 and change, right? And you can always go online to just divide it. So, or change your pounds to kilograms. So let's convert those pounds to kilograms. Then baseline nutrition is going to be about 0.8. So if you multiply your body weight in kilograms times 0.8, that is baseline nutrition. It means that is what you just need to kind of just be here and not be in the hospital. But I want you to think about that. Baseline nutrition, is that what you're trying to accomplish? Because baseline means you're just not sick. It means that you have just enough to kind of make it and still be okay. But for many of you, that is not what you're trying to accomplish. Your goals are a lot more than just baseline, but also you are not leading a sedentary lifestyle, or you're not retired. Anybody who's still working every day, we probably need to bump up. If you're someone who trains on a regular basis, meaning 2, 3, or 3, 4 times a week, maybe even 5, that needs to be bumped up. If you're somebody who's trying to lose 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, you actually need to bump that up as well, because in losing that weight, it means typically increased activity, but it also means that you need to protect the muscle mass you have while you're trying to lose weight, which means that you have to replenish it even more than you typically would, because our bodies don't store protein that way. We put it in and it goes to where it needs to go. And so if you don't put it back in, it's still, your body uses it for other functions in the body. So you have to always put it back in. So again, do that. And that's going to be your baseline. Now, if we want to be a little bit better, then we may say, okay, that's going to be 1 times your body weight in kilograms. And that's just a little bit better than baseline. That means you probably don't exercise, or maybe somebody who's not well, but we're trying to keep them healthy. And then maybe they can't move as much as someone else, okay? Now let's talk about for those of you who may be trying to lose a good amount of weight. That looks more like 1.6 times your body weight in kilograms is going to be the amount of protein you need in grams. I'm going to say that again. Take your body weight in kilograms and you're going to multiply it times 1.6 if you are somebody who is trying to lose a good amount of weight and maintain a level of muscle mass. Now that number may look pretty astonishing to many of you because you realize that you're nowhere near that, but you've been trying to lose a lot of weight and you just can't figure it out. That might be one of your biggest problems. Now, for those of you who are extremely active, means that you want to change your body composition, means you want to stay the same weight, but you want to change what it is. It means you want to stay, for example, if you weigh 150 pounds and you want to stay 150 pounds, but you need to lose body fat and gain muscle mass, it means we're going to go higher than 1.6. You may be going to 2 or 2.2. And that is also how you get back up to what you guys have probably heard in the past, which is for every pound of body weight, you're going to eat 1 gram of protein. So if you weigh 150 pounds, then you're going to eat 150 grams of protein. That's where that comes from. It's when you have gotten really high up until what is considered pretty much like a threshold for the amount of protein when you want a body recomp or you're trying to be optimal. Now, in fitness competitors, men who are trying to build a lot more muscle, we will go even up past 2.2 and sometimes even to times 2.6 and maybe even times 3, depending on how much a person weighs. But that's a great starting point for you to understand how to get your protein. So some of you, I know it may seem difficult, but the more that you prioritize the protein, the more that you are aware of how much of it you're eating or not eating, that is how you will find yourself being more satisfied. You'll snack less, your sugar cravings will be better, and you'll find your skin probably is a little bit tighter, and you're going to find yourself recovering faster, and you're going to see that you are developing strength a little bit faster. And for those of you who have not been strength training at all, you'll also start to see yourself be able to develop or have a little bit more muscle mass to your body, and you'll be able to see that in a body fat scan. So that's one way. That's number one. That's that protein. protein. Now, carbohydrates are those things that can go up or down based on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to lose weight, the carbohydrates need to be a little bit lower, not non-existent, right? Ladies, many of you have been doing non-existent because you either been keto or you've been so low carb for so long, you're so afraid to put them back. For many of you, that number really needs to look more like moderate to like a high low. You need to be able to understand what that is. And I can't tell you that on this video what that is, but it needs to be more in the low to moderate range. And low doesn't mean no. It just means lower than what it takes for you to maintain body weight. Now, for those of you who may be interested in doing triathlons or marathons, and that's your way to get yourself back in, they know carb count is going to be much higher. So you need to understand like where you are in things. What are you trying to accomplish when it comes to those carbs? Then that next group is that fat group. This one gets overlooked all the time because it's not as intuitive around, oh, is that a group? Is that a food group? We all know it exists, but you may not understand that it is a group that you need to pay attention to, because sometimes the only thing you're paying attention to is the protein and the carbs, and you forget there's a whole other group. And oftentimes that group is so far over for you that is the reason why you may not be losing weight, or you may actually be gaining weight. And we feel like, oh, it's just because we got older. No, it's just because our caloric intake in dietary fat is too high. And especially if you've done keto before, you're used to high fat, but you got to understand if that's not the lifestyle you're leading, then you cannot incorporate a keto lifestyle into something that may be more of a classic eating style, because you're going to eat too much dietary fat. All right. And your calories are going to get too high for your body and your goals. So of course, I know I've said a lot, but hopefully you're walking away with one of the most important aspects is in your food routine, especially at this point, is we got to prioritize protein. It will help you be more satisfied. It will help you manage your sweet tooth, and it will do a ton to help your body. And again, whether you want to eat meat or you don't, that's unimportant. The most important part is understanding that protein needs to be prioritized. And then we complement it with the right amount of carbohydrates, all forms, right? And there's hundreds of carbohydrates. And then we also have the right amount of dietary fat. Now, if you don't know how to do that, or you don't know how much you need, that's when people like myself come into play. We are experts in helping people figure out how to do that. But first things first, give that part a shot. And I think that you'll find that as you prioritize that protein, we stop snacking, so much, and we really focus on those main meals and getting the right amount of protein. You'll find that your energy is better, your sleeping is better, you physically will look better, you'll be happier, but you'll also find that you're stronger and you're starting to get fitter faster, if I could say that as a word right now. All right, so give it a shot. I can't wait to hear how it goes, or how you started to prioritize protein, or what has been the aha moment for you as you tried to go ahead and prioritize it and you realize, whoa, I was nowhere near this. So I cannot wait to hear what you think. Go ahead and give it a shot and let me know. Okay, I'll see you next time.